Please. Okay. So welcome everyone. How's your week been? This is me asking again. Let us know where you're joining from. And I trust that this webinar has been adding a lot of value to you. This is the fourth in the series before we kick off the Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge. And we trust you have been getting value. Just a quick recap on some of the things that we have done so far. Webinar one, are you tired of working with nothing to show for it? If you missed it, catch the replay. It's on the YouTube channel. Webinar two, the pressure of black tax and remittances. This is what a lot of Africans in diaspora face. How can you handle this? Webinar three, when helping hurts, how generosity keeps immigrants broke because you're just always sending money back home, sending money back home. There's a method to generosity. So if you want to know what that method is, what the principle is, you should catch that replay. And today we'll be talking about how your hard work abroad is building wealth for everyone else but you. So everyone who is connected to you is getting wealthier or richer, and then you're just wondering, what is going on? When would this stop? Have you really ever paused to ask yourself, all these hours I've been working, whose wealth is it really building? Am I really building wealth for myself every day that I go to work, that I clock in every hour? Am I really building wealth for myself, or whose wealth am I building? Think about it. In the copy that followed the flyer, it was saying every rent is building your landlord's portfolio. Every loan repayment is helping to improve the bank's bottom line. Every shift that you work is improving your employer's profit. So this is not just about money. It's about how well your money is working for you. And the truth is, you're not lazy. You just haven't found a way to navigate this time. And that is why we are here today. And that is why we have our coach. For those of you who will just be joining or watching the replay and you've never met OC, he's a trusted business and wealth creation coach. He has the desire to see Africans in diaspora make wealth legitimately and easily in a sustainable fashion. So if you're just meeting him for the first time, you are in the right place. So I need you to be ready with your book, your pen, your paper, your mind, your notes. Take away every form of distraction because every minute in this segment is going to be worth it. So you don't want any slight distraction, right? You want to know what you can do differently, and that is why you're here. We have already seen, even you yourself have proven to yourself that you can work hard. So it's not about working hard now anymore. The next step is to make your hard work for you. Let your money work for you. And that's why we have OC here. So if you're ready, let me see your emoji saying, I am ready, I am ready, I am ready. If you're ready, type one. If you're ready, type one. If you don't type one, I'm going to start. If you're ready, type one. Okay, fantastic. I see Butema is ready. Yes, thank you. You're joining us from the US. Thank you so much. Obafemi, thank you so much. We see you. Mr. Yinka is also here as well. So I think this is a good place for us to start. Anyone who joins us will meet us and then they'll catch the replay. Over to you, OC. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Stella, and welcome everyone to AFFW Achieve Financial Freedom webinar. So we want to look at something very important today, and that's about how working hard, whether at home or abroad, depending on where you're joining us from or where you are at this point in time, is enriching others, but except you. And it's about how you go about the work. During the Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge, I covered this extensively when I teach on income generation. Day one, we typically focus on personal transformation, and day two, we look at personal preparation, and day three, we focus extensively on income generation. We believe that income generation is the pillar of wealth creation. It is what holds everything else together. And the reason that is also critical is because if you're not making money, right, you can't manage and multiply money you have not yet made. And apart from that, also, you are exposed, you are vulnerable, you are prone to three realities when you don't make money. One, you are prone to begging, right? Which is very dishonorable, no matter your circumstance, no matter your situation. Um, when you run out of people to beg from, then you start to borrow money. You borrowed from Peter to pay Paul, and borrow from Jeremiah to pay Isaiah, and then from Isaiah you pay Matthew, then Matthew now, and that's been the cycle. And when you run out of people to borrow from, then you now are prone to compromise, to cutting corners, to defrauding people, to lying, to cheating, and all of that. Now, while the first two steps you take is dishonorable, the third one will land you in jail, will land you in in bigger trouble, and that's why I personally take this particular subject very, very seriously. Now, for some of us, making a lot of money is not even where we should begin from. It is, controlling what is taking the money from us. And that's why we deal extensively on that during personal preparation, the need for structure, and why any person or any family or business that lacks structure has no future and is bound to rupture. And that is pretty much what it is. So today, what I want to quickly nip in the bud, because we really don't have all the time to do justice to this subject. That's why I always recommend that people make it a point of duty to enroll for the Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge. It's a 5-day program, and each day we dedicate 2 to 3 hours of deep dive, deep learning, with practice, with examples, with real life examples, and of course we also take questions and provide clarity when necessary. We always recommend that you take advantage of that program. And we'll be having the next cohort September 29th all the way to October 3rd. But while at that, let's just dive into this. I think the first thing we need to understand is what are the various ways by which people even make money in the first instance, right? What are the first four ways, four principal ways, and each of these ways have different variants, and we'll see how far we can go. So permit me to illustrate as usual, just so that I can carry you along. If you can see my screen, please type one. Type one if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
Great. All right. So there are four principal ways by which people make money. The first one is by being a worker, which is where majority of people fall in, especially when people migrate to a new country. The drive for survival um, is really it's almost as though there is no other alternative. You just need to survive. The bills are racing faster. The demand for financial resources is almost unbearable. So I know what I'm talking about, and I've had to consult and coach and counsel people. Some people migrate into a new country with 2, 3 children, and some people don't migrate, they come alone, but they still have 3, 4 children, they still have dependents back home. These are things that are that serves as drags and weights. And so the pressure to want to quickly survive, all right, is why people settle here. But what a lot of people also don't realize is that you can make you can be making just minimum wage as a worker, and you can be doing extremely well financially also as a worker, depending on two factors. One, if you are working just for survival, maybe you are an undocumented immigrant. Typically, you are essentially laboring under the table, right? So we've seen situations and circumstances where people who migrate, who necessarily do not have the smart people, educated, very educated people, but they have to settle for anything that comes just so they can survive. And so we've seen PhD holders, MBA holders settle for all sorts of jobs. And some of us here can relate with what I'm talking about. And so under such circumstance, people just need to work more longer hours. So you work more time. But because time is a limited resource, no matter how long you decide to work, you are limited with time. So let's assume that you earn 16, 15, 17, or let's even say $20 a month, an hour. Now, that amount of money may appear big for someone in Africa, but it's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. And I say that with every sense of responsibility and humility. That amount of money is ridiculous. Yes, there's dignity in labor, but it's important to understand what I'm about to share so that anything else I'm going to be recommending, you would embrace it and not with a pinch of salt. So they dedicate more time, and the more time you work doesn't necessarily translate. You would need to give up something for something, right? So people have had to trade their time for a peaceful marriage. People have had to trade their time for a good health. People have had to trade their time, for the well-being of their children. Now, because you are chasing after money, you don't even have the time to spend it with the family for whom you are working for or laboring for. So more time is what can increase your income as a worker. The second option, which is really what I recommend, if you must, embrace this, is upskill. Upskill, right? I've been a major proponent of the fact that the highest level of income you have ever made is a direct reflection of the highest level of skill you have developed. All right. So if you want to improve your earning, then you have to elevate your learning. There's a correlation between learning and earning. If you remove L from learn, what you have left is earn. So in other words, your learning capacity determines your earning capacity. Your learning capacity determines your earning capacity. So upskill, get relevant skills, scarce skills, soft skills, skills that, and this is not, we're not just talking about certifications alone. A lot of migrants, especially Nigerians in diaspora, often go to schools. We are the most educated, but we don't often have the skills. Okay, let me not put it this. Let me put it this way. We often don't go for the skills that really, really pay the bills or that adds value, significant value to those organizations. So I always recommend this. And what I've also seen is a bandwagon of people settling for what helps people to make money, and that's why we often say that whoever you meet when you finally land in the UK, in Canada, in America, determines your destiny in a lot of ways because they will only tell you and show you what they also did. And if it's a part of survivor, that's how people get hooked, immediately. But if you meet people who tell you, come, we need to upskill, right? There are all sorts of skills now that gives you an advantage. Do you believe that by being um, you know, thank God for AI revolution, thank God for Internet of Things, robotics, and all of those, and thank God for all this technological revolution. But do you realize that there's a massive economy in the blue collar space, right? Where AI cannot replace. Um, I was listening to the BlackRock CEO. It's probably the wealthiest, you know, um, is a private equity firm, company in the world. You can check them out. And it was saying that 15 years ago, they were advocating for people to go learn software development, IT skills, and all of those things. But now, the demand for electricians, mechanics is unbelievable. He said in the next 5 years, they would, he was even talking about America. America will require 500,000. He was just throwing out some dangerous numbers. And just very few people are in that market. And this particular skill is extremely important. So there are several other skills. So you may want to begin to look into the blue collar space as a worker. You may also want to look into the digital space also as a worker to upskill yourself. The second way by which people make money is by being a closer. By being a closer means that you know how to sell, you know how to convert relationships to cash, convert leads into paying customers, convert cold audience into warm audience and all of that. It means you know exactly how, and this is really what determines the bottom line in every business, every organization. So if you are a good closer, and this means that in order for you to make a lot of money as a closer, there are three things involved. One, it depends on how good you are. How good you are. Now, this speaks to skills. The, the second thing is, this speaks to skills, right? The second thing now is how much commissions, because closers are the ones who determine the economy. They do not only determine the economy of a country, the economy of a state, the economy of a city, they also determine their own personal and family economy, right? By the much revenue they bring or they drive for a company. So how much commissions do they earn? Then the third thing is the price. How much, how much is the product? So these are the three key things that drives and determines how much money. Listen, one of the beautiful thing about being a closer is the fact that you can achieve in 30 minutes what somebody labors for a whole year just by working, which means if you devote time, energy into sharpening your skills, sharpening your capacity, sharpening your understanding of the market, understanding, you know, I said it time and time again, the owner of the market is way more superior than the owner of the factory, and so understanding that is really one movie someone told me I should try and watch that would help you understand business, finance, economy in general is Suits. I don't know if any of you have watched it, but I've not. I'm just starting to go watch it, but it's on Netflix. I don't know the details, but the person said if you want to understand the intricacies of the economy, closing, business in general, go and watch Suits. I said, okay, no problem. So I'm going to, it's part of my to do list. So closing is one of those key things that you. Then the third way by which people make money is by being an owner. And this is where everybody should really aspire to be, because ultimately you don't want to continue the rest of your life working for money. Okay. I said it, I think I said it last week. The reason why rich people are rich is because they acquire income producing assets. And the only reason why poor people are poor or getting poorer is because they are their only income producing assets. And so that is a problem. And so whether you choose to be a worker or you end up becoming a closer, whichever one you are, right, make sure that you are acquiring income producing assets. Okay. And essentially what this is, just keep acquiring, just keep leveraging. And now the key word I must put here, because is the word leverage. It's the word leverage, and I will get into that later on. And the fourth way is by being a lender. And by being a lender, you are essentially rendering services from the standpoint of a private equity firm, PE, or a venture, maybe VC, or you're a bank, whether regional bank, national bank, global bank, fintech, whether it's a commercial bank, merchant bank, mortgage, whatever banking, the primary purpose of banking is to give out loans, to make loans. Loans is the way by which banks create assets. So they don't make money by they don't make money by taking deposits. If they don't turn those deposits into assets by way of giving out loans, then there's no money. So this is the way. So now this is where a lot of us are trapped. And that's why we will continue to work and never be free. This is why a lot of us are trapped. This is why a lot of us are worn out, right? In America, an average truck driver earns somewhere when I say truck driver, most of these companies that are into logistics, they earn on the average $108,000 a year. Now, if you are familiar with the US, for those of you who are in the US, you would also know that 20% um, of Americans, right, people who live in America earn less than $100,000. Only 20% earn $100,000 and above. So if you are earning $100,000, you are in the top 20 income earners in America. But that still does not guarantee peace of mind, does not guarantee health. Now, most of these truck drivers, now I'm using truck drivers as an example, and it's by no means, I'm by no means in trying to insult anybody. I'm just simply saying that if that is the path you follow, you must be planning on how you can become an owner as quickly as possible. There are a lot of leverages all around us that most of us are not exploring. And those are part of the things I'm going to be talking about. Now, let's move on. Let's go further. Now, I speak a lot around the levels of value because this is important. I want to attack it from, what will give you leverage. The levels of value that you operate in that will give you leverage there are four of them. Let me take it one after the other. Hopefully, we'll get some understanding. The first level of value. One second, please.
I hope we're getting value so far. How has the class been? Or how has this section been? I don't want to call names. You can just put it in the chat room, or it has been expository, enlightening. If you have any questions as well, you can also put that there. Very interesting. I like how OC dimensioned the quadrant, showing us four ways that we can earn money. And the truth is, a lot of us don't even know, or this might even be the first time that some people are hearing this. All we just know is, oh, I work, I work, I work. But you know how they always say it, if you have to keep working every day of your life, then it means you are going to work till you die. So if you want to move from that level, because whether you know it or not, the energy you have, you don't have it 10 years from now, 20 years from now, your energy is going to deplete. No matter how much you try, your body is going to start telling you you're not as young as you used to be. When you try to bend, when you try to carry some things, you would feel it. So you have to save or start investing for the future. You have to start thinking of your retirement now. This is the best time to start thinking about it. So using these quadrants, you want to ask yourself, how can I become a closer? What are the things I need to learn? So OC is back already.
Thank you, Stella. My system, my iPad, just hung and wasn't responding, so I needed to disconnect it. Right. So
Welcome
welcome
back.
back. Yeah, so thank you so much for that quick summary of what I've shared. As much as I would love to talk about, investing and all of those things, that's not the subject for today. We'll look at that later on. I want us to really revisit how we are making our money and how that way by which we are making money is only empowering others. It's not empowering us if we don't do the following things I'm going to share. That's why this is so important. The first level of value is what we call implementation, and this is where most workers are really, right? The people who work the hardest in most organizations are actually here, and they are the one who earn the least. They are the one who work the longest. And the reason why this is so is because they essentially exchange, they're basically using um, the major resource they deploy is muscle and time. So they deploy lots of energy and lots of time. Okay? That is where majority of people are. For those of us who go to hotels, you find housekeepers in those hotels. There are people who clean up the rooms, preparing for the next, guests who would occupy that room, that hotel room. Somebody does that job. And the most hardworking people you will find are the people who clean those places. Yet they are the one who earn the least. This is where they operate mostly. Now, while there's nothing wrong in starting out from there, you must understand that that does not provide you leverage because you are exchanging muscle and time for money. You're exchanging energy and time for money. Now, listen to me carefully. This is so important. Please, if you get this I'm about to share, you get it once, you will be sorted forever. I've seen people, um, I was analyzing recently that Uber, Lyft in America, in Nigeria, I think they have, what do you have there, Gina? What are the equivalents?
Bolt, InDrive,
Both InDrive and all of that.
Elaborate.
All of these platforms are a transportation company driven by tech, but they own no car, no vehicles. Now the people who are exchanging they use their car, they use their time, they are operating at the implementation level. I'm going to share with you where exactly you should be aiming for. And the danger of operating at the implementation level, among other things, is the fact that you are so trapped, so consumed, your time is so consumed that you don't even have enough time to dream, to envision. You are all forever chasing to pay bills. So when now, do you know the shocking thing? People in this category will never be in this program. If by any means they are in this program, that's where their light bulb moment will come from, and that's where their deliverance will come from. But guess what? The nature of where they are operating from, the nature of value, the level of value where they are operating from will not even permit them to attend programs that would elevate their understanding, that would help them upskill. Am I communicating here at all? So again, because money is spiritual, money is not the paper bill we carry around. Money is not debit card. Money is value. Money is a reward for problems we solve. So money is actually a means of exchange. So, and that's why if you are not bringing anything to if you are not bringing value to the market, you are not getting anything in return. Now, note this, because it is a spiritual outcome, money is a spiritual outcome. You can't use a physical resource, which is what muscle is. All right? You can't use a physical resource plus a limited resource. Time is a limited resource. No matter how smart you think you are, you have maximum of 24 hours a day. And if you are deploying muscle, it's a physical resource. You can't use these two limited resource and physical resource to produce a spiritual outcome, which is money. This is so important because when we share these things, people just think, oh, what is this saying self? Why little Benny? Is it that difficult? Is it so serious? It is serious. It is serious because um, there's a family I occasionally just pay them a visit in America, and whenever I get there, I rarely meet the wife. There are families where the wife does morning shifts, husband does night shifts, so that's because they have young children. Now this arrangement will work for a season, but that is not how you can really gain leverage or mileage. Are you following me at all? I'm not saying this to in any way insult anybody. I'm just simply saying that, see, we cannot continue to operate at this level. The people who make the most money, this is not what they are not exchanging time and energy for money. Do we understand? The second level of value is unification. Now, this is more of a higher spiritual activity, and that's why they earn slightly higher than people in the implementation level. But see, you can't still be in unification and create, meaningful measure of wealth. What is the major resource they deploy here? Management skill. Management skill. Management skill. Okay. So these people are managing other people. They are the supervisors, they are the managers, right? So managing people is a higher spiritual activity over exchanging your time and energy for money. And this is where another massive group of people also operate. Am I communicating here? Now, once you get to this level, you are just at the border of shifting your financial life, financial destiny forever. That takes us to the third level, which is communication. Now, the main resource that is being used to create income, create revenue here is, is your mouth. That's the main resource. That's why I say to people, anybody who has mouth and knows how to use it, eh, can move masses, can move decisions, can move economy, can shift minds. Those are the people. And that's why religion is so powerful. That's why music is so powerful, right? You have no idea the level of influence people who are playing at this level, the influence they wield in our economy, the influence they wield even in the politics of nations. Okay? And so whether you are a songwriter, you are a salesperson, you remember the closer dimension I told you about earlier, whether you are a coach, a consultant, this is where you start to create massive wealth. It is at this level that you begin to gain leverage, especially in this digital age where you have digital leverage. You can create, I mean, gone are those days, you need guys from Alaba to help you do distribution of your album. Today, just one single, the money you never made through distribution, you can generate. Now, most of those guys now who are doing, I don't know whether they are still making money in Alaba now, with piracy and all of those things. I don't think they are still doing that. But because literally every song you need now is available online. But YouTube is paying these guys. Spotify is paying these guys, right? There's so much that people are now leveraging just by using their mouth. So you record yourself, you put it out there. This young man that's just been recently murdered, Charles Charlie Kirk. I mean, is it Charlie Kirk? I never knew him. I never heard about him before. In fact, someone was telling me, I know the guy was part of the major people that was supporting Donald Trump and all of those things. Young chap. And he was snuffed out in split seconds. Split seconds. But what is that guy, if left alive, could be president in a couple of years' time down the line because of the level of influence. I started seeing a lot of his videos, how he's been engaging with young people. Mouth. Me, I'm an introvert, though. No problem. If you cannot talk to save your destiny, save your life, it's time to start to learn something new. It's one skill you want to master. All right? Public speaking, coaching, consulting, any area where you have secured, you have experience, any area of life where you have proven results, then put something together, turn that into a service, turn that into a product, right? A digital product for that matter. And guess what? In this digital age, you can even leverage other people's products and services to also make money. You don't even need to create anything. Other people have created some things that you can also put out there. So please take note of that. This is where we need to, earlier as of this morning, I went on my prayer, my regular daily prayer walk. And I had planned that when I'm returning, it typically takes me between 1.5 hours to 2 hours, of that walk. I had planned that when I'm returning, I will branch grocery. I will do groceries. Something happened to me today that made me to understand why certain ethnic groups in certain countries are doing better than the others. And I caught it. So I got to this particular store Most of us who are in America know Kroger. So I branched off to Kroger. And when I came out, before I entered, I noticed the display at the entrance. But by the time I came out, a young boy, about the age of my son, my last born, you know, approached me with merchandise. The father was standing behind. And I pleaded with him that I'm so sorry that I already bought what I needed. I'm done. And then as I was about leaving, the father said, whisper to the son, is that how you conclude? You know, they were of the Indian origin. And the young man said to me, he said, do have a nice weekend. In other words, even if you are not doing business with me, I must end it with courtesy. And that boy should be somewhere maybe between 7 and 8. It should be around 7 and 9, thereabout. I left there thinking to myself, a father who is exchanging time and energy for money. What model is he leaving for the child? He's how to also exchange time and energy for money. They're already raising that child on how to build business empires. 25% of hotels in America are owned by Indians. They are highly communal. They team up regularly, just like the Jews. It's so amazing. Even the way they raise their children, they understand their language. Me adults, I don't understand my language fully. Hmm? It's strange. And I learned something there today, and I told myself, no, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a coach, and I understand these things. I say, okay, I need to begin to show. I'm doing that already, but I need to show, I need to do more. Maybe not from the standpoint of trading, because that's what they were displaying. They were displaying products, right? But that's just food for thought for someone. The fourth way and the fourth level of value, and this is where I'm going to wrap up because we don't have much time, is imagination. You see, the guys who created DoorDash, who created Uber, who created all these platforms, these apps, and all of those things, this is where they're operating. Here, they are using their mind and money. The resource they use at this level, this is where billionaires are made. You would notice that the people who want to survive, they don't think, they don't use mind, they use hand. Hand, hand. It has to be difficult. If it's not costing you sweat and blood, you don't think you have done anything. But the real wealth is produced from here. At this level, you can still be a multi-millionaire at communication level. But if you want to become a billionaire, you have to raise the bar to be this. How then do you ensure that you are not just working hard, or that your hard work is not just enriching and empowering other people, except yourself? You want to elevate your operation from just 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. And you have to do it slowly, intentionally, deliberately, strategically. All right. And you have something inside of you. And guess what? You know why I love the imagination level? Even if you don't have the mind to create it, there are people who partnered with Mark Zuckerberg with money. There are people who partnered with Tesla with money. So you don't have mind, at least have money. Right? There are four kinds of people in the marketplace. People with idea, no money. People with money, no idea. People with money and idea. The tragic one is people without money and without idea. Don't be that type of people, right? Be the type of people who at least have one of two. And that's why when you are at this level, the greatest leverage you can have is to live far below your means, right? Minimize all the drags and weights. See, if you need to do it, tell people, say, please, just within this time. I heard a multi-billionaire say recently, said when they were struggling in his family, himself and his wife, he told his wife, he said, see, babe, give me 3 years. Give me 3 years to go and build something, because your children can't inherit your job. They can't inherit because even permanent secretaries don't have permanent jobs. So it's important. And now you are doing the same thing that you did in Africa. Now you are in diaspora, you are in the UK, you are in the US, and it's the same cycle. Are you not seeing that no matter how long you work, you are still not being able to pay your bills? It means that they only pay you enough to survive. Is that the level you want to remain? Is that the level you want to stay? And the fear of, oh, what if I resign? How would we survive, my people? I can tell you categorically, you don't have any idea what is on the other side of your fear. That's why I'm going to rest my case for tonight. Hopefully, we'll touch on some other things later on. And so this is why you should attend Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge. I cannot overemphasize this. We currently have an offer. The program itself comes with an investment fee of $299. But for the first 50 people who register, you just paid $99. That's all you need to do, and the thing is filling up so fast. So please do the best you can and lock down that. Within 2 Saturdays now, will be after the next 2 Saturdays. I think we have only one Saturday left, right? Yeah, from the upper one, we're done. So after the next, okay, we have 2 more Saturdays, and then we'll be on for the Chief Financial Freedom Challenge. So you want to quickly take advantage of that. Anything that hinders you from attending that program is a signature. It's like you signed the agreement with poverty, agreement to become the ambassador of poverty. And I'm sorry if it sounds, disrespectful. Please forgive me. Not all of you here, have personal relationship with me, but please forgive me in advance, because sometimes those are the kind of things that will get people to wake up from slumber. Yeah, I want to encourage you to do that. Just send AFFC to +1 470 708 4107. Send on WhatsApp, please. On WhatsApp. +1, please, +1, whether you're in the UK, US, Canada, wherever in the world, in Nigeria, +1 470 708 4107. And you'll be glad you did. At that program, I can assure you, if you attend the program and you feel it was a complete waste of your money, complete waste of your time, you have the money back guarantee. All right. Within 7 days of completing that program, we'll refund your money. This is not a survival event. It's not a strategy to survive. God has helped me, and there are things I discovered along the line that I'm also eager to share with others, especially of my people. Okay. And the interesting thing is that we're also blessed. We have all sorts of people joining our group, joining the community. I've said it time and time again. Rich people move in community. Poor people also move in communities. So this will be a very great community you want to join, and you can learn. We can learn from one another. Over to you, Stella.
Thank you very much, OC. That was truly, truly insightful. I know that everyone on this call has definitely got something they've heard before or not heard before. So please ask questions. It's time for questions. What do you think about the quadrants? What do you think about being a closer? Do you have any questions, any clarification about it? Do you want to understand how you can move up levels of value, even though it has been shared? Is there something that you're not sure of? I think the question that I would ask OC would be, as an individual, do you have to go through the levels linear, or you can jump from implementation to imagination?
Fantastic question you have asked. The truth of the matter is, if you run any organization, if you run any business, all these levels of value must be in operation simultaneously, right? So in every organization, this must be present. The question is, the levels is not tied to any name. So anybody, wherever you currently may find yourself, it's time to just be aware. The purpose of this is just to create that awareness. There are the people who are earning more are not necessarily smarter. They are just offering a superior level of value, period. That's all, right? I run a couple of businesses both in Nigeria and here in the United States, and I can tell you, the people who I interact with people, all sorts of people, and I often, even when hiring, especially when I'm hiring for a C-suite role, executive roles, one of the key things I'm looking for is, can this person think? Imagination, because there are three principal levels in the pyramid of any organization. There is the operations level, right? There is the business level. There's also the corporate level, right? So there's corporate level strategy. That's where you imagine big, massive things, massive shifts. If you read the book by Femi Otedola, you'll see some of the things he talked about, how that one of the major struggles he had in business was hiring. And it took him 10 years before he even got some of the guys that are helping him to move things at the level it is moving, right? And so people who earn the highest, right, are always at that level of communication and imagination. So it's not a linear thing that, oh, you move from implementation to this. So if you're already in implementation, be aware that there's a higher level. And if you are tired of, you know, uh, being caught up in the rat race, it's time to shift base, to shift your level of value. I have a lot more I would have loved to share, but I really want us to not exceed 1 hour in our meeting every week.
Thank you, C. So we have a question. Can someone without good communication skills operate at the level of communication and imagination?
Absolutely. You see, it's a function of exposure. I was in, I went on an inspection, this last week, and a friend of mine who, went along with me, we're just discussing business generally. And then I was throwing out some things, and the person said, how do you know these things? I said, I read. You want to sharpen your communication skills, you need to commit yourself to a body of knowledge, right? You need to dedicate yourself to a body of knowledge. Like my mentor would say, that in order for you to be a medical doctor, you devoted 7 years of your life to a body of knowledge. So you were ordinary when you started, but you became a medical doctor by the end of that period. Why? Because it was a focused learning. It's the same thing. Also, listening to people who speak well, people whose words resonate with you more often, also has a way it shapes you. We all learn by emulation before we learn by education, we learn by emulation before we adopt our own style, before we form our own style. I don't speak like any of my mentors. I don't, but there was a point some people told me I speak like this person, I speak like that person. But today now nobody's telling me I speak like that person, I speak like this person. I've unconsciously created my own path, right? But I keep learning, from literally everyone. My personality shows, my originality shows every now and again. So anybody can develop good communication skills. And let me say this, the relationship between the communication and imagination is very tiny. Why did I say so? Words are thoughts. Thoughts are words. The words you speak come from thoughts. The thoughts that you think comes from words. Do you understand that? Right. So, and that's why there's that connection. So the deeper your thought, the the deeper your words, right? The deeper the words that you are feeding your mind with, the deeper your thoughts. And this is how we sharpen creativity. Listen, there's nothing really new under the sun. Everything has been created. So it's just improvement of what already exists. All right. Look at the MP3 technology, for example, had been existing long before iPod technology came, iPod made by Apple came into equation. As of 1989, the MP3 technology was already in existence. Somebody just made it cool to own, period. That's the difference, all right? And had the strategic marketing, had a unique marketing approach to it, period. And it changed the name of the game. Today, you buy any iPhone product or any Apple product, it's like a cult. Like you buy and you remain forever. You are going nowhere. Everything you would need. They've created an ecosystem where you are locked in, right? You can't, there's no hard drive you can plug, everything is in the cloud. So, and that cloud is subscription. That is revenue. That's why some of these companies can never be broke ever again. They keep so, and it takes imagination to go to operate at that level. And one of the ways by which you can elevate your creativity, even at the imagination level, is by observing how things work. How things work. So you are working in an organization, you are at the implementation level. Okay, so you should sit down and think, if we are 1,000 of us at this level, at your level, and they pay us without sweat, how are they making it happen? Uh, what is the system making all of this to happen? A lot of times people don't commit to that level of thinking. And that's why they remain at the lowest level. Okay.
Thank you very much for that, OC. Thank you so much. We have another question. So Mr. Julius is asking, since we are striving to make generational wealth, why is it that those people who succeed to get generational wealth cannot or do not ensure that their wealth continues with the generations coming?
So I believe that you know the answer. I believe you know the answer. Um, Someone made I mean, I learned, I listened, I heard a quote a while back, and it was said that um, strong men, all right, strong men create weak, children. Weak children um, make weak decisions, and weak decisions lead to crisis. Crisis also now creates strong men, and then strong men now go on and on like that. So in other words, there's a level of comfort some people have attained that they say, I don't want my children to suffer what I've suffered. Unknown to them, they're actually setting them up for bigger problems. I tell my children, I say, see, your father is not a poor man, but I'm not going to make things easy for you. I won't wait for life to throw challenges at you. I'll give you the foundation, I'll give you the soft landing, but you must understand the dignity of labor. You must understand what it means to think. Now, the shocking thing, these guys are discussing all sorts of ideas and visions with me. Why? Because of what I'm exposing them to. That's what is missing. Um, when you are depriving your children or siblings or whoever you have responsibility obligations to, depriving them from the process, right? You don't have an idea what you are setting them up for. There are challenges that are coming in the future that even if you are present, you will still not be able to solve. And if you don't equip them, it will be a disaster waiting to happen. Incidentally, I saw some of the clips of Temi or Tedola's wedding, and I know the wedding was a very expensive wedding, and the creme de la creme was highly, highly, highly. Um, it was strictly by invitation for those of us who saw the videos or video clips. But one thing shocked me when he was going to give gifts to his son or to a daughter and son-in-law. He gave him the book. He said, both of you are entrepreneurs. Give them the book. Um, the greatest gift anybody can give to you is not money. Money will finish. Money will finish. And I say that all the time. Money will finish. It is access, wisdom, ideas, inspiration, relationships, network, skill. Those are the things that are priceless. And those are the things that we can use to perpetuate, generational wealth. Let me say this to wrap up that thought. That's why I've always believed that true inheritance is not what we leave for our children. True inheritance is what we leave in our children, right? It's true inheritance is not what we leave for our children. True inheritance is what we leave in them. That is the only way we can perpetuate um, generational wealth. Stella, can we quickly wrap up with other questions?
Thank you very much. So what we have our contributions. Someone is saying some people have genuine difficulty due to learning difficulties such as dyslexia, ADHD, and so it affects their learning ability. However, they are incredibly imaginative speakers of second language. The thing is, what for every limitation, there's a solution. So that if you know what the issue is, just you just have to seek what the solution is. Some of the people that you admire, the big names, they also have autism and all of this, and they have
Yes,
family around it.
that's even
So
where I'm going to. There's hardly anybody you see that is trailing the blaze or blazing the trail who doesn't have one learning difficulty or limitations. Look at a person like um, Les Brown. Les Brown was called all sorts of names, right? There's this guy that has no limbs, no feet, right? Limitations, all sorts of disabilities, and these are some of the people who are influencing the world at a scale that's unimaginable, so is to find out, okay, what did they do to beat these limitations, right? The real limitations is in the mind. I must tell you the truth. It's in the mind.
yes, 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 totally agree. And we have another comment that says, piggybacking on the conversation about generational wealth, this is the issue that Nigeria has created for Nigerians today, starting from Udoji Award, which is the root
Yes,
cause of all problems that we are facing today. If we
true.
start this particular agenda, and we will not go home today. But thank you so much for the
Very, very
contribution. This has really been insightful, and I know that everyone has learned one thing or the other. At least now we know what true inheritance is. So as much as you are gathering those wealth, if you do not leave values in your children, they're going to squander that money. So give them much more than money, you know, give them values that they can work with. And I really, really, truly hope that we are now unstuck because we have gotten the roadmap, we have gotten, a strategy, knowing that the wealth that you're going to start getting from today, you're going to use it for your own self. You're going to start building your own wealth, right? So I encourage each and every one of us to please don't just be hearers. I know that we come every week and we think, oh, I would remember. No, just pick one thing, just one thing. If it's how am I going to become a closer? If it's how am I going to, what does it take to be a lender? Just pick one thing that you are going to learn. Or you want to ask yourself, how can I improve my value? Right? I want to move from implementation to unification. I don't just want to be a team member. I want to become a manager of individuals. Okay, unification. Okay, communication. I think I want to start coaching people what I already know. Sometimes you're waiting to have all the knowledge before you start. But if you have worked for 1 year, even if you have worked for 1 year, you can coach entry level people because you have experience, right? So don't wait till you have like 20 years before you get started, right? So I do hope that this has really been a very insightful class for us. And we hope that it motivates you or propels you to register for the Achieve Financial Freedom Challenge. I can assure you that there are days where decades happen, right? So you really want to make sure that you end the year on a great note because you're not going to start planning for 2026 and 2026. It has to start now. This is like we are closing out already. We are winding down. So as you're planning, these are some of the things that you need to start putting into consideration. Let this be your early Christmas gifts to yourself. And you see that you can afford a much more bigger Christmas gift. And even your family will be grateful for it. So thank you so much for coming as always. And then we also respect your time. We do hope that you also catch the replay for anything that you missed, and you can also share it with your friends and family. Ose, I don't know if you have any final words for us.
You said it all. Au revoir. See you next week, Saturday.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying through. Anulika, Ash, Babatunde Ayorinde, Blessing Adeomi, Batema, Carol,